Yep, we'll make a start. Thanks everyone for joining us. This is the first event of the year. Really appreciate you coming along. So we're just going to start off, say thanks for joining us. We do have this event code of conduct. We've never had to draw upon it before. There's never been a reason because you're such a lovely bunch of people. But if anyone's got any issues or any kind of questions or concerns, just directly contact me or Sarah Jones and we'll help out where we can. Today's sessions, we've got some great speakers. So yeah, really chuffed to see the list that we've got tonight. So first up, we've got Collapsing BizApps, the AI and agents driving the Dynamics 365 UI UX revolution with the wonderful Sharon Smith. Then we've got a new speaker slot from Records to Robes, a power platform solution for graduation at scale. That's by the fantastic Ed Charnley, and we've had a good preview of Ed's slides, so really looking forward to that one. We love a lot of love and support for Ed as a first-time speaker. And then we've got the amazing Janet Robb with The Curse of Knowledge, Why Power Platform Adoption Stalls and How to Fix It. And this is a bit more of an extended session, this one. There's a lot that Janet's covered over her career. I'm really looking forward to this deep dive in that session. So yeah, some absolutely fantastic presentations coming up. First up, Sharon, I've made you a presenter. So whenever you're ready, please take the screen and it's over to you. Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you. I will indeed. Let me just get this going. Can you hear me okay?
Yes. I can hear you fine.
Wonderful, excellent. Okay, so apologies. I'm looking a little bit more anemic than normal. I have a new webcam and I don't think I've quite got its settings set up. Well, certainly to me, I am looking decidedly on the vampiric side of things, which is rather interesting. So let me just get this going so that you don't have to see me anymore. Right. Okay. Actually, let me just share first. Now, I am probably going to get this sharing. No, let's do that. And if I do that and do that to begin with, and then do that, I'm bound to get this wrong because it's me. Okay, and then probably I need to switch screens. And you'll also have to excuse me because I can't see for the much for the life of me, because I have the deep joy of having been diagnosed with severe cataracts. So my vision is decidedly on the dodgy side. Keith, remind me how I swap these screens around because you're probably actually seeing the
design view. Yep. So display settings across the top there. Second. So at the very top of the screen, second one there, and then you've got the swap presenter.
Lovely.
So the first one.
Thank you.
Here we go. Good to go.
Thank you very much. Yeah, my apologies for that. Nice. Like I said, I can't see. I'm as blind as a bat at the moment until I get my cataracts done. Okay, so for those of you who don't know me, my name is Sharon Smith. I'll get onto my proper introductions in a moment, but this is a session that I have been doing now for probably in one form or another about 18 months. It's a lifelong journey for me, and it's not one that I think is going to stop for the foreseeable, actually, because what we've actually had is we've had a lot of changes that have been happening to the Dynamics user interface and user experience over the last 18 months. A lot of it is down to UI, obviously, AI, but it started before that. And I'll have a little bit of a kind of like a catch up with you on that. But really what I want to focus on is something that Satya Nadella actually said last January and where that's actually taken us since. And that's where this whole collapsing BizApps actually comes from. So today's agenda, who am I? Normally we have a thanks for the sponsors because as you'll see, this is the deck that I normally use for the National Dynamics Power Platform User Group, which I'm very honoured to call my home user group. Then we'll get on to actually what I'm talking about, as in collapsing what. We'll get a little bit of immersive, but not very immersive because they've taken the immersive away from us, but you'll find out why. And then we'll get on to probably my, well, it's Sophia. Everybody who knows me actually knows that I absolutely adore Sophia. For those who don't know me, then you'll learn who Sophia is or what Sophia is. Then we'll get on to some agents, We'll skip over very lightly the AI accelerator, touch on it briefly, and then we'll have a quick look at sales inside service and what that actually means. And then probably more importantly, what next, because that's quite interesting, that is. Anyway, this is me. I'm Sharon Smith. I'm a Senior Dynamics 365 Solution Architect. I work for the wonderful Capgemini now. I'm a dual BizApps MVP, one of only four in the world who actually hold both the CE and the CS awards. One of two women alongside the awesome Deanne Taylor, who I am going to have the privilege finally to meet this year when we go to MVP Summit. Really excited for that. I'm also founder of the Mentoring Hub, a charitable initiative where we are working hard to actually get more women speaking. So if that's actually something that you're interested, please DM me. We need to see more women on the speaker stage. And on that point, those of you who know me and follow me on LinkedIn, you'll have actually seen that I put a post out last week commenting on the fact that there was only a very, very low number of women in the top 3% of speakers on Sessionize. The founder of Sessionize contacted me this morning. You have to excuse me, I'm quite emotional about this. And he is actually working with me now to actually get some more data out of their statistics and to see what they can do to actually help us raise the profile of women speakers and to help us actually promote their sessions to women speakers. Absolutely blown away that the founder of Sessionize has actually reached out to work with us. So amazing. That's the power of community for you. So anyway, getting on to what we're actually here to talk about. Collapsing what? So just over a year ago, there was this amazing podcast that was done by Sachin Nadella called the BG2 podcast. And what he actually said was that he, for the first time, talked about this concept of the UI for AI. It's something which is ubiquitous now. And it, at that point, was kind of like the ultimate futuristic expression. This, I do actually have the video that I could show you, but given that I can't, my eyesight isn't the best, I'm not going to flip in and out until we need to. But you can actually watch the video if you go to that YouTube, and if you scan the QR codes there, you'll be able to go directly there. Let me just quote you what Satcher actually said. The notion is that business applications exist. That is where they will all collapse in the agent era. They are essentially CRUD. CRUD databases, for those who might not know, that's your create, read, and update and delete, all your normal type of actions that you can do on records in Dataverse. They're essentially CRUD databases with a bunch of business logic. This logic is all going to the agents, and then effectively they will just become multi-repo CRUDs. They won't discriminate what the back end is. They will update multiple databases. All the logic will be in the AI tier. And once the logic is there, people replace the back end, the applications, and we will try and collapse it all. That was huge. Absolutely ripples everywhere back in January. And you saw a lot of commentary, especially on LinkedIn, that this was the death knell of Dynamics. And obviously we haven't seen that yet. But it was a big moment, big moment. So I'm just going to stay in the deck for a moment, and this deck we will make available to you because it has a lot of QR codes and links that you can go and actually have a look at a lot of this stuff yourself. But I'm not going to stay in the deck too long. I'll get back into my beloved Dynamics very shortly. But what I want to do is I want to actually show you where we actually ended around about the middle of last year in this journey. So what I'd actually seen is I'd seen a lot of changes happening to the user interface of Dynamics, whereas you used to have the ubiquitous 3 columns in Dynamics. For those of you who have actually seen it and experienced the first party apps, it's a model driven app. It is Microsoft's. Well, it's where Microsoft puts its money. It eats its own dog food. It uses well, what is now called Copilot Workspace. It used to be Customer Workspace. It uses that to run its own service desk. And you used to have a basically a business process flow running the top, using up a lot of real estate, which would take you through the steps of, well, the logic steps that Satcher was talking about. So what we started to see about 18 months ago is we started to actually see that changing. The business process flow disappeared in nearly pretty much across the board, apart from the sales process where you're going to lead to opportunity. That was about the only one that was left. And then you went from, rather than having the rather crowded 3 columns, you went down to 2 columns, and your timeline had its own tab. And then all of a sudden, you had this. You had this immersive Copilot homepage. So what we had is we had Copilot being introduced in that right-hand pane, where effectively you were able to start chatting with Copilot. And now this is ubiquitous. We're all very used to doing that. But then all of a sudden, they introduced this immersive Copilot homepage, and everybody thought, well, right, here we are. This is what Satchel was talking about. This is the UI for AI, where everything will be inside this immersive homepage. You'll do all your talking here. As you can see, you've got your prompts at the top where you can just effectively, well, they're starter prompts, where you click on those and you could change them. You can ask questions about your data. You're iterating over your data. You can see you've got your sales pipeline there that you're looking at from the query that you had, and you could just ask away and ask away. I loved this. I used to demo this like, everywhere. I absolutely adored this. And then I came along for, I believe it was one of the all-day user national user group sessions, getting ready for it, and it was gone. It was this homepage was actually gone. Now, if what you can see is like here is where it used to sit at the top of this particular part of the navigation, and it was gone. And it's like, how? It's like, I'm about to demo it. How is it not in my tenant? And literally, it had from one demo to the next, it had been deprecated, and it had actually been just removed. And so it was like, well, why? And when I went and looked in the Microsoft Learn docs, apparently it wasn't popular, which amazed me. And then we started to see things change. And this is a cycle that Dynamics goes through, where one minute everything is all about everything being inside Dynamics, and you're pushed into Dynamics and you do everything in Dynamics. You do Teams calls inside Dynamics, you send emails from inside Dynamics, you make appointments from inside Dynamics, and then the cycle goes back round again. And all of a sudden it's all about being where the people want to work. And then you're back in Outlook, you're back in Teams using immersive the cards inside Teams to do everything. And you're actually you've got the Dynamics extension for Outlook, where effectively now you've got the equivalent of a Copilot side pane showing you your Dynamics. And that's where we are on this cycle again. And I'd have absolutely no doubt that in another 6 to 12 months' time, we'll be back inside Dynamics, because I don't believe that Dynamics is actually going to go anywhere. I was actually having a chat with some friends last year about this, and raised the question as to, do we actually think we're going to see Dynamics disappearing because of what we'll have a look at a little bit later as far as the M365 sales. And it was, look at where the money's going. Microsoft are still putting a lot of money into the first-party apps. When they stop doing that, then you'll see the death knell of Dynamics. But before that, no. So what's actually replaced this then in Dynamics? Right, I'm going to actually do this the opposite way around of how I normally demo this. So I'm just going to come out of this and I'm going to take you into my tenant, if I can actually find the darn thing. That is the video that I was mentioning. But what I'm going to do is, let me just close that. So for those of you, hopefully you're actually still seeing, are you seeing my tenant now, Keith?
Yeah, I can see a model-driven app, Sales Hub.
Lovely. Okay, so this is, as I said, this is Dynamics. For those of you who haven't seen Dynamics before, this is the D365 Sales Hub. And as I was explaining beforehand, this is what we're actually now seeing. We tend to see, for example, this is the Sales Accelerator. So this is my list of work items that the Sales Accelerator is saying that these are my priority work items for the day. And as you can see now, we've got no big, horrible model business process flow up here. Nice clean page, and in this particular case we've just got one nice column. I know some people don't like scrolling down, but you know, this is the way that the first party app shows it. And as we can see, what we have is, we have, for those of you who are used to Copilot highlights, this is the highlights of this particular case, or this particular contact, i.e. it's Copilot is looking at everything to do with that particular case and giving you a summary of what the most important things for you to know about. And this has been transformational. This is probably one of the most important things that we've actually seen changed in Dynamics, is the use of Copilot. And I've also got my normal Copilot on the side. So what I was just showing you beforehand with regards to that big immersive page, this is the equivalent of that big immersive page here. So this is what people are saying, is that they prefer to have the side pane than one big immersive page. Let's close that up now so you can see better. But what we have is, we have a lot of agents now coming into Dynamics. And one of the biggest agents we have is the sales research agent. Now, hopefully my own Wi-Fi will actually get us there. Taking a wee bit of a time to actually resolve, which is interesting. Let me give it a bit of a refresh, wake it up. I think everybody's systems seem to be having a bit of a blue Monday today. Okay, well, what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to actually flip out to actually show you what it should actually be here, because I'm not quite sure why it isn't actually resolving, because it was there a moment ago. So the sales research agent is Project Sophia. So I followed Project Sophia for a very long time now. It was basically it was a passion project for one of the VPs at Microsoft, and I always described it as a solution that that was looking for a problem to solve. And I actually had the pleasure of seeing it demonstrated at Scottish Summit the year before last by one of the Microsoft product team, where at that point in time they were trying to actually shoehorn, for want of a better word, it into the versions of Copilot that are the Copilot 4s. So what we actually just saw and we had a look at in Dynamics was the Copilot in Dynamics. So we saw the Copilot in D365 Sales, whereas there is a product range which is the Copilot for D365 Sales and Copilot for D365 Service. And these are they are standalone. They are additional products that you have to pay a premium license for. And the idea was to actually include Sophia into those standalone products. And the idea was, and if I just sign in here, and excuse my looking, pick the right account. This is Project Sophia. And the idea was that you would have the ability to range across all your data. It's a research agent. It is the sales research agent now that you see inside Dynamic Sales, and that's where it's found its home. And literally, if we were able to get this to resolve inside the Sales Hub, this is exactly what you would see, just slightly smaller. And effectively, the idea originally was that you would be able to take your data from the sales, from, well, effectively from all the first party apps, sales, marketing, finance as well. So on the ERP side of things as well, service, and bring it all in to one infinite research canvas, as it was called. And then you were going to be able to kind of like iterate across that information and ask questions across that information, so that if, for example, you had a particular, well, let's talk about the wonderful world of Contoso. So Contoso coffee that we all, absolutely love. When we're in our trial data, if you were looking at a particular product, and then you were looking at a service desk and that product kept on failing, for example, and you were getting service requests coming in and they were being reported, and then all of a sudden you were seeing lots of returns on the sales data as well for a particular product. You could then go and look at the supply chain for that product and see whether or not that you were seeing problems with the supply chain for that product. Maybe the provider of that product had changed. All that data that you might have spread around the different first party apps would all be brought into this one place. And then you were able to ask questions about it, and it would join all that information up together and give you answers. It's a very powerful tool. First of all, what you need to do is add your data. And as you can see here, it's giving me the opportunity to bring in either my sales data or my service data, or just my dataverse. So your dataverse could be a model-driven app. So it is literally, it doesn't have to be the first party apps. It could be a model-driven app which is sitting on top of Dataverse, but of course you're talking premium license there. And that is the key thing here, premium license. So let's just bring my sales data in. The other thing I would also mention is that the other most important thing about this, and this was a key thing that I actually revealed to some colleagues of mine when I was at Colour Cloud the beginning, or what was it, May last year, I think it was, that they didn't actually know about it. And this was a couple of friends of mine who you might have heard of, Will Dorrington and Chris Huntingford. They didn't actually know that if you click up here, that you can actually go to your context and you can put in here the actual context. Now, take yourself back to like the first quarter of last year, before we were, all got used to prompting. And you were actually, nowadays we think absolutely nothing of writing prompts out saying, I am a solution architect. I am, in this particular industry. I need you to look at the data through this particular lens. Do this, don't do that. That is prompting nowadays. This was the first kind of like, examples of getting used to actually giving, context to then being able to manage what this was happening. So and again, memory as well, because once you put it here, it would stay here. And I love the fact that they didn't know that. So they'd originally kind of like thought, oh, this is quite interesting, when I actually showed them this. And back then, it wasn't as nice and clean as this. It was just 3 ellipses. And it was like, if you didn't know they were there, you would miss them. Again, strong argument there that user design is just so, the user interface design is so important. 3 ellipses, you'll just miss it. Whereas now, if you're used to actually going, we're all used to actually going into our icons as far as, looking at our profiles and looking at the information there. Huge difference. So once they knew that, it completely changed what they were thinking of this. So you just basically, again, very, very similar as we're used to now to prompting. You can choose one of these prompts, then it will put the prompt in, and then it will start work. What it is creating is a blueprint for you. And the nice thing is it's a standard blueprint. And when it gets there, it will have, because clearly it's being a little bit on the slow side today, what it will have on the left-hand side is it will have the narrative that you would get as far as a summary. And here we go. Thank you very much. Whoop. And it's getting in there. So here we have. Now, what you've got to remember is this is test data that I've actually got in here. So it's very, very much, it is not Capgemini data at all. So it is very much, let me just do that for you. So you are very much looking at purely kind of like, hardly any data at all. But imagine you have beautiful data here. What you've actually got on this side is you've actually got the kind of information, the summary information that you would normally put into a deck that you would give to the C-suite, about whatever the prompt is, this is like the answer to that question. And it's quite often looking at how the business is going from a certain perspective, competition, how your pipeline is looking, and then you will have these various charts which will give you the visualization to the data. The nice thing is that if I let me see, oh, excuse me, if I look at the workings, and I am sorry, what it will do is you can kind of like switch it round, you can pivot it, and then you can actually look at how it came to all those different points. So it gives you the context, it gives it effectively, this is, the rationale behind why the AI came to the points that it came to. One of the strong things you can do about this is that I only brought in my data, but you can add in CSV files, you can add in websites. So you could bring in McKinsey data. You can bring in additional information that you can say, right, okay, this is my situation, this is my data. But what if I was looking at projected trend data from a particular industry? For example, if I was looking, say, McKinsey was saying, our predictions for 2026 are this, and I brought that information in here, then, what would their predictions look like in comparison to where my pipeline is going? How do I actually need to change my strategy based on this? And whoever's comment that was about it still being a bit of a black box, you're absolutely right. But when isn't anything to do with AI a black box at the moment? There is a lot of work that needs actually to be done on citations and for us to actually understand the generative AI side of things, not so much the declarative side of things, which is, give me this, an average of what my pipeline is looking like. Anything which is predictive, black box definitely. What you can do is you can click on any one of these visuals and then you can iterate on any one of these visuals. So if I wanted to look on this, again, AI is giving me suggestions of the kind of questions that I might want to ask. I can click on that question and then I can basically ask it to change the data on that particular item based on that question. And then what happens is you can effectively, and I won't do it because it takes a bit too much time, you can ask a question either of the individual boxes or you can ask another question of the whole blueprint. And if you do ask a question of the whole blueprint, it will create another blueprint for you. And the reason it's called an infinite canvas is that when it then generates the next one for you, it will generate it coming off down here or that way. And so you can look at that one there, and then you can look at another one down here and you can compare it. And what a lot of people have said about this is they've said, well, we might as well just give this tool to the C-suite and basically just get them to, ask the questions that they need of the data themselves. Why do we actually need to, do all the hard work of actually creating monthly PowerPoint presentations for them, telling them how the business is running? Just teach them how to use this, give them this tool, and let them get on with it themselves. So, and I think there's a very strong argument for doing that. And that, all of a sudden, it was a big moment for me when I actually saw that come in here. And yes, I am still here. There you are. There's my sales research agent. It's only taken 20 minutes to actually get in there, but this is the beauty. It did get there. So as you can see, it is absolutely, exactly the same as the Sophia, and the Sophia that I was looking at here is basically you can get to Project Sophia via projectsophia.microsoft.com and have a play around with it here without having to have the premium license for Dynamics that you actually have to see here. So that basically was a huge part of my journey for the last year. And I would effectively, wax lyrical about Project Sophia for absolutely, most of my talk for most of last year, because I was just so blown away with it. And then to see it coming here was excellent, was brilliant. But a lot has actually changed with Dynamics since then, because one of the biggest things that you've actually seen change, and just in case, that was that one. That was just to show you how you can actually have going directly to an account. I thought I'd just open up a number of pages to make it quicker to show you rather than waiting for it to resolve. So you could have this summary instead of in the whole. I suppose it's taking the business process flow area. You can have it as a whole top section, and as I said here, this is where you've got this nice clean 2 columns. And again, you've got your timeline now. You can choose to have it in your right-hand side column, which is the way that Dynamics has it. So, yes, I know I'm still here. That's not what I want. So what I'm actually going to just pop over to is here. So remember I spoke about how we are now seeing Dynamics being pushed outside of the actual, D365 app, traditional app that we're used to. This, I hope you're all very familiar with, M365 Copilot. Now, here we have Dynamic Sales inside M365 Copilot. So remember I was talking about that immersive homepage that we used to, we saw for a short while, relatively speaking, in D365 Sales, the app. This is effectively it in M365 Copilot. So, when effectively they said, we're taking people to where they want to be, that's exactly what they've done. But they're giving them exactly the same, effectively immersive home page for sales. And again, we are asking the same questions of the sales data as we would have done so, and we can ask it, but we are getting that sales chat. Okay. I'll resolve that later, but we are getting the same chat, but inside M365 Copilot. We're also, as you're probably used to, we've got researcher here, and we've got analyst here, which we're used to with the M365 area. And it's, one of the biggest questions when this was released was, well, does this mean that you actually had to have a Dynamics premium license if you're going to be using Dynamics Sales inside of M365 Copilot? The answer is yes. You still need that premium license for Dynamics to be able to bring that chat into here. But not only do you see it here, and because I'm presenting in Teams, I won't actually change out. You see exactly this same. I mean, you will all be used to, if you went to your Copilot in Teams, you can see exactly the same in Copilot for Teams. So this is where they are basically saying they are taking you, or they are taking Dynamics to wherever you want to be, as long as you are happy with talking to your Dynamics data in the Copilot fashion. And this, I think, is the important thing about why you're going to not see Dynamics as an app disappearing very soon, because I think it's going to be a big step for enterprise businesses to feel comfortable moving away from the style of app that they have been used to for a very, very long time. Let me get to, yeah, for a very, very long time, this style of app where they see the data of a sales account or for a service account like this, to a blank page where they have to actually ask questions of a blank page. So just to finish up, conscious of time, where are we going next? Well, let me just pop back onto my slide deck and whiz you down. Some things that's the sales copilot. A couple of things that, just let's see if I can start from here and flick over. So a couple of things that we saw being mentioned, which, let me just minimize that for me, saw mentioned in the 2025 release wave 2 last year, that we've not actually seen anything come from, is the idea of having Dynamics Contact Center for Sales in Dynamics Contact Center for Service in Copilot Service Workspace. The only place we've actually seen this idea, and this kind of goes back to what I was saying at the very beginning about the idea of being able to, if you have a problem with a particular piece of equipment and you make a service call for it and you've got to place an order, or you realize you've run out of coffee filters, for want of a better descriptive, and they say, oh yes, we can put an order in for that, you would be able to actually raise a sales order whilst you're inside Dynamics 365 Contact Center in the Copilot Service Workspace, as it's now called. This was actually shown on the highlights video, the flame video, for the 2025 release wave 2. And I got really, really excited about that, because the last time something like that had happened was the previous year, when they did that, and then with no notice whatsoever, literally a matter of a few days later, they released the D365 contact center for service onto the world. And I got really, really excited, thinking we're going to see, this released immediately. No preview, it will go straight to production, because obviously Microsoft must have been using it in the background. Nah, silence, absolutely silence. And we've not seen it being progressed whatsoever, which is a real shame, because I think that this could have been brilliant. Not sure the why of it, but yeah, it's not gone anywhere. But this idea of, and this kind of like comes round to the end point, the idea of the collapsing BizApps, and the idea of you're collapsing, the various different individual apps themselves, sales, service, the enterprise apps, the finance, the idea, field service as well, can't forget field service, the idea of actually collapsing all of those into one app. Microsoft aren't taking that forward, and there's a number of reasons for that. One of, many of which is most of Microsoft's apps they've purchased by, in the loosest sense of the word, by mergers and acquisitions. And I think the sales app, and Dan Barber will be, who I know is on the call, will be able to correct me if I'm wrong here. I think that is the oldest of the actual Dynamics apps, and probably the only one that is actually still the original that Microsoft itself actually developed itself, rather than it bringing the other apps like the marketing app, which it got, or Customer Insights as it's called now, which it actually got by buying the company that developed it. There is, however, a company that is collapsing its BizApps, ServiceNow. And the interesting thing, and again, you can watch the podcast where the CEO did a Bloomberg talk where they had just had released their half-yearly results, and they were brilliant half-yearly results, skyrocketing. Just before, they were just about to announce, interestingly, a tie-up with Google Cloud. But also at the same time, they also increased their partnership with Microsoft as well. And this was around about the same time where we started to see Copilot service release the pre-built agents. So this was where you were starting to actually get agents that were already pre-built. There was an announcement of 10 new agents that you were already pre-built for Dynamics that you could go and just spin up as templates straight away. When you went to actually into Copilot service and looked at them, it was like, yeah, there's a case management agent there, but it's not actually linking in with Dynamics. It's linking in with ServiceNow. And that seemed very, very strange until you actually found out that there was a big tie-up between ServiceNow and Microsoft, where they had invested into the partnership a lot more. And at the same time, the CEO of ServiceNow actually announced that they had collapsed all of their apps into one app. And one of the reasons why they had this big, big spike in profits was that instead of you having all the different apps that, as you do with the Microsoft first party apps, the Dynamics apps, they had one. I've not used it myself. I'd be really interested if anybody has used the ServiceNow combined app, where you've got effectively sales, service, their equivalent of field service, their equivalent of the finance. How does that actually compare with something like Business Central, for example, which is probably the closest we've got to an equivalent? So it's really, really interesting to see the direction of travel. And where I kind of end up with this is a reflection on how things have changed dramatically for Dynamics under Satya Nadella. Because if you go back into the history of Bill Gates, and there'll be many on the call here who will remember that time and the early days of the CRM apps, everybody was a competitor for Microsoft. But now, under Satya Nadella, everybody is, okay, they're a competitor, but they're a chance to collaborate, to actually have tie-ups. And I think we've seen that even more so with the introduction of MCP servers and, the number of apps that you can actually go to the App Store and actually just connect in with. I don't think that there is, hardly any well-known company that you can't actually have an API call with and a connector with, or an MCP with nowadays, that can basically tie things up with Microsoft. So that's a journey that I've actually been following over the last 18 months, as I said, and I don't think it's actually going to stop. I'm really going to be interested to see where it goes over the next year, over 2026, and see where we actually, this time, in a year's time, where is Dynamics going to be sitting? It's going to be a very interesting journey to follow. If I just stop sharing that. And she says, if I can actually find where I stop sharing. I am so looking forward to getting these cataracts done. So looking forward. If there's anybody got any questions, if we've got time for questions, otherwise, you know where I am on LinkedIn. And I am very happy to connect with anybody there that I'm not connected with and have a chat about dynamics there.
Awesome. Thank you, Sharon. Brilliant presentation. And yeah, we do have a few minutes. If anyone's got any questions, just raise the hand in Teams and we'll take it in turns if there are any. Lots of love in the chat there, Sharon. Great presentation. Really good. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
No, my pleasure. My pleasure.
Great. Well, you know what? We're not looking like any questions at the moment, just lots of really nice compliments and good words in the chat. So thank you again. That was absolutely brilliant. As Sharon said, you know, Sharon, I work alongside Sharon and many other wonderful people at Capgemini as well. We're always approachable if anyone's got any questions or wants to learn more. So I'd highly recommend that we do that. Thank you
Yep.
again.
Lovely.
Fantastic. Okay, now over to the new speaker slot. And we're privileged today, good friend of ours. Many of us know Ed already, but we've got Mr. Ed going to take over the screen. Thanks, Ed. It's all yours. Take it away. Lots of love and encouragement for Ed. It's really brave stepping up to do your first presentation. So we're always grateful when people do that. But Ed, over to you.
Thank you so much, Keith, and hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining my session on From Records to Robes, a Power Platform solution for graduation at scale. So about me, I'm a Power Platform evangelist at University College London. So using the Microsoft 365 stack combined with intimate knowledge of the organization, I help university staff solve problems and add additional value without concerns around excessive costs or lack of ongoing support. Now, when we think about the experience in today's session, I'd like to invite you to think of a time when you completed a significant development activity. How did that achievement make you feel? Hopefully, something like the icon here in the top right-hand corner. Well, at UCL, the student experience is one of the key aspects of the value, success, and purpose of the organization. It's a focal point on that journey of graduation and completing those studies. And as UCL graduations say, attending a graduation ceremony gives us all the chance to recognize and celebrate everything that graduates have achieved during their time at UCL, alongside friends, family, and staff. So turning ourselves to the challenge and opportunity, in 2024-25, UCL had a total of over 51,000 students. And we have 3 graduation seasons per year with about 16 ceremony sessions in each of those seasons. And we welcomed about 6,400 students across the 16 graduation ceremonies in September 2025. So how can this vision of recognition and celebration be supported, optimized, and enriched with technology? Well, I'd love to talk to you today about the Graduation Ceremony Wizard, or GCW for short, because we all love an acronym, right? Thinking about this, I'd like to concentrate on 3 spheres of value. The first of these is our graduands, and to dive into the definition of that, they are students who have completed all the requirements of their degree, but have not yet formally graduated. Our second sphere is our university staff, and our third is our university IT function. Now, when we take a high-level look at the Graduation Ceremony Wizard solution, we start off with a graduate data export from a student database. And this is fed into our Graduation Ceremony Wizard, which is a Canvas app. That app has 2 key outputs, the first of which is the assignment of seats within the graduation venue for each of our graduates attending that specific ceremony, and the second of the scripts. These are the names and awards that are read out during that ceremony. And of course, it's essential that the assignment of seats and scripts, or the order in which the graduands progress across the stage, is in parity. Now, when we apply our spheres of value to this, we have our graduates here in terms of the seat and the scripts. In terms of the solution itself, we have our university staff. And I'd actually argue that the IT function benefits from the entire value chain. And I'd like to explain more about that later in the presentation. Now, how about the technology stack? Well, the first thing is our Canvas app, which is our graduation ceremony wizard. We're also leveraging Power Automate. We're also using Teams. This is great for, of course, communication and collaboration, but also ongoing refinement, training and support. And our Teams connected SharePoint site. This is perfect for our secure and compliant management of the data involved in the process. And thanks to the chosen stack, the cost can be kept to a minimum with majority coverage via our tenancy A5 licensing. But we need to get that balance right between optimization of automation and also our staff and the human in the loop. And so I'd like to present this balance here, this scale between our automated and preset business logic that we've built into our solution, balanced out with the human in the loop checking and the intervention where required. And it's about trying to get that balance right to achieve our optimum business value. And as we look at the solution architecture and the process design on the next slide, I'd like to invite you to look for the review steps indicated by the eye icon, balanced against the automated process and user-driven requirement steps to see how we've aimed to get this right. So taking a look at the solution in more detail, we have our Canvas app. And loaded into this, we have things like seating plans, departments and faculties, and the awards and their priorities. So the student awards that are being achieved and how these should be sorted within the application. These are generally speaking certainties. We can update them when required, but they won't normally change within that specific season. As I mentioned, we're leveraging Microsoft Teams for simple things like communication and meetings, but we also use it to house our training materials and deliver user-related sessions as well. Now, the users will start off by selecting the ceremony within the application, and then they're going to review the numeric seating plan allocation. In other words, we know how many graduates we expect for that ceremony, so we need to make sure that the seating plan matches that intended number. Next, they get to review a sample graduate data import. This is really helpful because it's a small slice of the data which they can review for consistency at that early stage, just to make sure that the ceremony that they've selected is matching up with our intended graduates. Next, the app will automatically apply multiple business logic, for example, the award priority sorting and sorting by surname. And the users can then review that sample shaped data. They'll next do things like reviewing the phonetic spelling registration and the accessibility notes. And I'm going to expand on that in a few moments' time. They'll also be able to see the number of awards per useful business units like department and faculty, and the number of awards by type as well. And then the users can assign the graduates to the presentation session within the ceremony. So within each ceremony, we have 3 different presentation sessions that are bordered by things like breaks and other ceremony activities. The users will then finally review the entire export proposition before it's exported by granular graduate level detail. This is going to include things like their individual seat allocation. By the click of a button, we then fire a Power Automate flow, which will export both into Excel for record keeping and indeed our ceremony scripts in Word-based format. And these are stored in secure compliant area within SharePoint using our permissions management model linked to our Microsoft team. This completes the process, although optionally, those users can iterate and can continue working within the solution to remodel as required. So turning our attention back to our value spheres once again, let's think now about our graduates specifically. The solution highlights those graduates who've disclosed special requirements. Now, with early visibility, this gives our teams the opportunity to understand, plan for, and support the graduate at the ceremony so they can have the best experience. With friends, family, and other supporters looking on, it's crucial that the graduate's name is pronounced as it's intended. So for graduates who provided a phonetic spelling of their name in advance, this features prominently on the generated ceremony scripts to be read out at that individual ceremony. There's also certainty on the allocated seat, which matches the running order, and as the same solution is used to generate the seat details and the scripts, we're ensuring parity and we can provide assurance to the graduate of their booked and allocated place at the venue. And finally, the optimized ceremony experience is achieved due to the ease of scheduling the groups of graduates within the ceremony. This allows us to balance the number of graduates and schedule breaks around other ceremony activities to ensure best flow. Now let's think about our second group, our university staff. Now, don't just take my word for it. I'm delighted to present a quote from our senior user who says that the solution enables all 16 ceremonies to be fully prepared in around 4 working days. If this stage had to be completed manually, it would add at least an additional week before the data could be handed to the team, a delay that cannot be absorbed within the fixed timeline, and it would require additional resource or introduce significant risk. They continue to say that the app-based format works really well. The process is clear, methodical, and repeatable. And as the solution ensures a procession order, graduate names, and the awards are all correct, staff running the ceremonies are enabled to focus on live operational issues rather than data integrity on the day. As process logic and automated checks are embedded directly into the tool, individual knowledge or repeated manual steps are mitigated, and this reduces risk, resource requirement, and it ensures the consistency of the process. So overall, the solution saves substantial time, reduces errors, protects delivery timescales, and makes graduation delivery at scale both achievable and reliable. Let's think now about our third value sphere, the IT function. Well, due to the impact and value of this solution to the organization, it really contributes to our group's reputation, leading to increased awareness and work propositions. There's an opportunity to work with our users to refine and add new functionality and optimization, which really continues that onward value chain. And we can ensure process transparency and consistency. And this works really well for new solution users and IT staff. Having built the app-based process, training materials and support methods, the new solution users are empowered with required knowledge and onboarded faster. And through this approach, IT staff can support the solution and in turn the business process optimally. Continuing with our IT function, the skills development and the sharing of best practice is made possible at our agile ceremonies within our wider portfolio. And the economies of scale and leveraging technical developments within this solution has, of course, informed our future solution developments as well. With resource planning and relationship building, we're co-creating value through optimized scheduling, clear communication, and the availability of lead times alongside the peak solution usage. So the building of trust with our users ensures our group's resources can be targeted and not fragmented, and our users know that support is available. So we've talked today about the organizational subject matter expertise, the Microsoft 365 Power Platform expertise, and the solution provision expertise. And when we're able to combine these, this is when we truly realize business value. It's been really exciting to share the impact of that business value about our IT function, wider staff function, and of course, our graduates and our graduates. And so this is how we've leveraged Power Platform to go from records to robes, enabling graduation at scale. In closing, I'd like to, of course, welcome you to connect with me on LinkedIn. It would be fantastic to see you there. And I'd like to say a few quick thank yous to our fellow speakers today, Sharon and Janet, to Sarah and Keith, the High Five leadership team, for welcoming me as a new speaker. And of course, you as the High Five live audience and those watching the recording. Thank you so much for your time, and back to Keith. Thank you.
Ed, thank you so much. That was absolutely brilliant. I can't believe that's your first presentation. So great job. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Keith. Really appreciate it. And I shall check out the meeting chat if we have questions too.
Yeah, good stuff. And if
Well
anyone
done,
does have
Ed.
any
I don't know
questions,
if you can hear me. We
yeah, go
have
for it.
three
Sarah.
teenagers in the house now, so the Wi-Fi is really struggling. But yeah, excellent. That was really impressive. I would never know that was the first time public speaking session to a group like this.
Thanks so much, sir. I really appreciate it. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, absolutely knocked it out the park, Ed. Really, really impressive. It's taken me ages to even get near that level, if indeed I am at the moment. So yeah, really, really envious. Really well done. If anyone does have any questions, please just raise the hand in Teams. Otherwise, we're just going to see a lot of nice compliments and love in the chat there, Ed. Fantastic. Excellent. You know what? A lot of people really enlightened by that. Lots of learning. So thanks again, Ed. No questions yet, but as with Sharon, I'm sure if anyone wants to reach out, please do. You know, we all just love helping others and sharing their knowledge. That's why we're all here. So feel free to reach out to Edward Charnley or Ed if you have any questions. Thanks again, Ed. Great stuff. Well, with that, we're now down to our third and final session of the evening, or evening where we're based at least anyway. So thank you so far to Sharon and Ed. Next up, we've got Janet. So Janet, when you're ready, please feel free to share your screen and it's over to you.
Thanks very much, Keith. Ed, that was bloody brilliant. There is absolutely no way that's your first. You're really, really good. I was sitting there listening to your presentation going, oh my goodness, he's saying things that are just music to my ears about defining your impacted users, building their stories. I specifically love education. So Ed, well done. Now there's Emma Clare just said my hair looks gorgeous because I actually washed my hair. I did two things today. I've achieved life. I've washed, brushed my hair, and started my tax return. So I'm winning at life right now. So I'm about to give it a go at trying to share my screen, and I'm shit at this. So and by the way, I swear too. So let me see if this worked. Right. Did that work?
Looking good. Perfect. Can see your title page.
All right.
And your hair looks amazing, Janet, as well. Full appreciation.
Photo and real life. Yeah.
Here, that's
agreed.
ChatGPT. I've never looked that good in my life. None of that nonsense. I couldn't look good if I tried. Right, hold on. Where the hell has the flippy thing gone to move the... Ah, this'll do. This'll do. Right, I'll get chatting. Can you see me talking? Can you see me waving and all?
Can see you on the camera. Yeah, I can see your slides.
Yeah, but can you see... Am I on top of the slides? No, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. We'll just keep going.
Yeah, you're like presenting in front
Yeah.
of
Oh,
the slides.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Brilliant, Janet.
Oh, well, thanks very much, because I don't know how I'm doing it. So, this is all about the curse of knowledge. I'm very conscious of the time, and I'm going to make you a wee promise. You're going to leave here tonight going, that girl's a genius. I'm not a genius. I just listened to a lot of podcasts, and this came up in a podcast about, it was about how all these army people died, and I thought, you know what? That is very close to why all our technology projects fail. So I nicked it off a podcast. So the curse of knowledge, let's move on. Why Power Platform adoption fails and how do we fix it? But the crack is, this isn't just about Power Platform. It's about absolutely everything in life. Do you remember if you ever say anything to somebody and you go, how did they not get what I said to them? And that's because of the curse of knowledge. So let's keep going. So for those that don't know me, my name's Janet. and I'm from Belfast, if you haven't picked up on that. And I work for myself. But some of the stuff that I'm going to show you today is going to be from my last job at A&S. So A&S still do everything that I'm going to show you. So if you're interested in it, you can give them a wee contact. But I'm just going to go this really quickly. I've worked global projects. I'm turning, actually one of the things I was doing earlier was creating my 50th birthday party, inviting ChatGPT. So I've been working at this malarkey for a hell of a long time. I know I don't look it, but I primarily have worked in the UK and Ireland, but I have done global projects. I've worked for Microsoft globally. I'm ProSci certified, which is just a change management language. And I've worked pretty much everywhere. I've driven trucks, I've been in tractors, I've been in chicken farms, I've been in cows, sperm places, you name it, now I've worked in it. So I've a lot of pattern matching, but I don't know why I've ever needed to pattern match cow's sperm before, but I have. My technology used to be Dynamics. I really love Dynamics. I think it's the dogs or the cow's bollocks. And I used to be able to get Dynamics to stand on its head. Now I don't think I could ever open it, so I bow to Sharon. I've done worked in Microsoft a number of times, but in two roles. One in Dynamics, the head of Dynamics technology in Ireland, but I've also worked in Microsoft UK, where I focused on customer success and adoption. The reason I'm waffling about this wee bit is because I want you to believe me that I know my stuff, and I want you to trust me. But outside of work, I've been a community leader for about 13 plus years, 27 years experience. I'm not going to read anymore. That's just blah. So why listen to this wee girl from Ireland? Right, here's my promises. Promise I won't use big complicated words because I don't know them. I won't talk jargon because I don't know them. I'm going to tell you lots of stories that you're going to be able to relate to, and you're going to be able to take to work tomorrow and say, I heard this just last night. Because you know what? We remember stories. We remember stories better than we remember anything else. I will explain how we've all been starting in the wrong places, apart from Ed, who did the most beautiful presentation about where he started correctly. What you need to do to increase your adoption and utilization. Oh, and guess what? I am not going to tell you to make a maker community. How often do you get that with Power Platform? Have you made a maker community? Yeah, it doesn't work. Well, it can work, but you have to do the bits before. So, and one more thing. You're going to leave thinking, flip, that was all common sense, but 100% not common practice. And in other words, you're going to tell me at the end of this that you knew all this shit, you just don't do it. So I'm here to remind you. Conscious of time. Right. Do you remember 2018? Do you remember 2018? It's 2026 now. I feel like topping myself. So in 2018, that's me with my mate Helen and my mate Emma, and we are in Portugal. And the reason we are in Portugal is because we cannot bear the royal wedding and we need to get out of the country. So we purposely booked a holiday over Harry and Meghan's wedding because we couldn't listen to the news. So that was going to remind you that was 2018 if you remember Harry and Meghan's wedding. Do you remember all those wee boys got stuck in a cave? That was in 2018. And GDPR was officially launched in 2018. I was like, are you having a laugh? I thought GDPR was here always. But 2018 seems like quite a while ago. Yeah? What else happened in 2018? Power Platform grew from a standalone tools. It basically all came together, and that's how long we've had Power Platform. The history underscores Microsoft's commitment to empowering citizen developers and accelerating digital transformation. I worked for Microsoft at the time in Dynamics customer success when Power Platform was launched. You couldn't breathe for the word Power Platform. It's a bit like Copilot when it was launched 2 years ago, and you thought, the next person that says Copilot, I'm going to slap them. Power Platform has been around for a long time, right? I mean, what's the problem? Why am I here waffling at you? Because Power Platform licenses, especially if you're working in public sector or large organizations, are expensive. They're very, very, very expensive. And you know what? They should be expensive because they do amazing shit. It's amazing. So, however, and I'm going to read something, get ready to be bored. Industry surveys suggest that nearly half, that's 50%, half of all software licenses in enterprises go unused. That's half. Did you hear half? Leading to wasted investment and prompting some organizations to reduce and discontinue their Power Platform subscriptions. When I worked as a partner and when I worked in Microsoft, the biggest fight was getting people to buy these things and buy them in bulk and get the benefit of an enterprise license in bulk. It was like banging my head against a brick wall because people knew that they could true down if they weren't using them, and a lot of people were. Nothing puts the fear of God into a Microsoft employee is the word true down. So Power Platform, it's really hard to say with facial palsy. Power Platform's promise, 3 Ps, and then we've got empowering, and there's another P in there. Empowering everyone to build apps and automate process comes with the caveat. This is the problem. We have a caveat that the organisation, so DEFRA, so the Bank of Ireland, so the cow semen place, must proactively drive its adoption. That's on you, mate. You have to drive the adoption. And this is where the problem starts. I just put this little picture, it's a wee bit out of date. Roughly how much a license costs. They're not cheap. Depending on how often you buy them, what enterprise agreement you've got, but they can be really, really uber expensive. A premium user can be £20 dollars per month. And if you've got 7,000 of them at £20 a month and only half of them are using it, that's like burning money. Or me going to the gym, same thing. But here's the thing, I love Power Platform. I bloody love it. It is fantastic. I have even cried. I could make you cry at some of the impact of stories I have about Power Platform. It is the cow's bollocks. It really is. So, what are we doing wrong? Let's talk about it, folks. When I built this presentation, I, for some reason, did it all in cavemen because I thought about going back to the beginning. So these are all done with caveman images and they make me laugh. So you better enjoy them. So how are we told to, by the way, can you hear my washing machine singing? It'll go for about 10 minutes. It keeps singing when it's finished.
Can't hear anything, Jenna. All good.
It's singing away. It's very annoying. So how are we told to adopt this technology? What are we told about Power Platform, folks? Right, let's go. Start with a clear vision and get some use cases. That's what we're called, right? Identify specific business problems, opportunities where Power Platform can provide value. How many P's in this bloody paragraph? Choose pilot projects that address known pain points. It's like I picked the worst things for me to say to create immediate relevance and success stories. Right, did we all do that and not die of boredom? Because that's the first thing we're told. Do you know anybody that actually does that? The next thing is secure executive sponsorship in IT. Excuse me, Mr. IT manager, would you like to come and be our project sponsor that nobody knows of who you are or anything about you? Yes, you'll do. So ensure that management supports the initiative and communicate its importance. How many meetings have you sat in where any of this shit happens? But we're told to do it and we go, but that doesn't matter, that doesn't matter. Invest in training and awareness. Provide ample training opportunities for both makers and end users. Emphasize what Power Platform can do for each role of department to make it tangible. Do you see the tumbleweed? Because that's what happens. Nobody does 1, 2, or 3. And I'm going to prove that to you in a minute. Oh, this is my favorite. And by the way, I have created YouTube. Microsoft has me writing YouTube videos about champion networks. I am bloody brilliant at it. Do you know why I'm bloody brilliant at it? Because the first 3 champion networks I did failed, and they failed amazingly. So design a phased rollout with champions. Implement Power Platform in phases, starting with a pilot group or a single department. Recruit Power Platform champions to lead by example. Is that what you all do with your Power Platform projects? Do you do all 1 to 4? Do you? No, I know fine, right? None of you do it. But if we all did it, if we did everything we were told, look at this poor caveman. He's a bit bewildered. And look at the angry management that are coming after him. Because guess what? Nobody's using that bloody app. So I'll stop. I've clearly had too much coffee, and while I was waiting, I did have a bit of chocolate, which has maybe affected my silliness. So management are furious. They are furious that we have not delivered on the return on investment promised. But what did we promise? How did we promise it, and where did we look for it? IT are actually struggling to get use cases. So IT are going, here, this is a great idea. Not like our lovely Ed, who had the best use case and worked it through and had his impacted user groups. Ed, this does not reflect on you at all. Sponsors were nowhere to be found. The maker community consisted of just tech people, just the techies. No one has a flipping clue what or why things are being built. Nobody knows. It went into IT and nobody ever saw it again. And there's going to be a true down in the licenses. So all of that effort to get the power that is in Power Platform is wasted. And I do think it's the cow's bollocks. It really is. What are we doing wrong? Look at he's crying. Little caveman's crying. So I'm going to run through this really quickly because I know you're all knackered and you don't want to hear me say cow's bollocks anymore. So what was done with the vision? Did you design a vision, or was it just stuck in a PowerPoint and somebody wrote it and nobody agreed it? Did you do pilot projects? Who was involved? Who was told of the outcome? And the success stories? Brill! How did you share that story? Or was it just left on a website? What I'm getting at is it's so much more than just the technology. Secure executive sponsorship and IT support. These are the same points I made earlier. What roles did you give that sponsor? Did you give them a role? Did you tell them how much time? Did you educate them? And IT support, did you educate them, or did you just assume they knew everything because they had the word IT in their title? Invest in training and awareness. Training, I love this. Did you mean that self-learning video that you just clicked through? That one. And where is the awareness? What was the awareness? What do you mean, Janet, by the word awareness? Why awareness? Sure, it's the best thing since sliced bread. You know, I don't need to teach you about Copilot because it's the cow's bollocks. I don't need to teach you about Power Platform because it's the cow's bollocks. But what if I don't think it's the cow's bollocks? What if I am really busy and I haven't got time to look at your shit? Am I allowed to swear, Sarah? I'm not sure.
Bye bye, me, darling. I think you're on 6 cow's bollocks now.
Oh, right, okay. I'm just going to see how many times I can say cow's bollocks. Design. Am I getting told off? Keith, are you telling me off?
Not at all. I mean, I'm not encouraging it either, but keep on doing what you're doing. It's great.
He's so well behaved. So design a phase. Look, what is a champion? What do you mean by a champion? If we already have a tech community, why do we need a champion community? Sure, we'll just wing it over the fence. How do we train them? And what is their role? So I'm going to talk a wee bit more in a second. But I want to talk about, my goodness, that's very blue. That's made me look very blue, hasn't it? Organizational change. I love this little iceberg. We started with a vision, and we started with strategy and goals and shared values and procedures and policies and structures. That's what organizations do. That's what the people get the big bucks for, that go to a boardroom and spend all day writing on a whiteboard, and they build all this stuff, right? But then we've got the real world. And we've got beliefs, shared assumptions, perceptions, traditions, values, norms, unwritten rules, and stories and feelings. All of these things, all of the things below the water that actually is how we work, has an impact in how we show up, how we behave when new technology comes our way. We might have a vision, but you know what? I'm knackered. I am really knackered, and I have to get that report out. And do not, for the love of God, change that process, because I haven't the time to learn it, and I don't understand why I should. And it's just going to make my life miserable. In fact, I'm going to sabotage. I don't want to use the word sabotage, so I'm just going to whinge about it. I'm going to whinge at the water cooler. I'm going to whinge on Teams. I'm going to ensure that this isn't adopted. Why? Because it's frightening and it's scary. That's normal. That's how people who are really living life on a day-to-day basis feel. Change happens by one by one. It doesn't happen because the big boardroom people came and decided to buy Power Platform license that meant that everybody was going to develop their own apps and that we were going to change everything. And yeah, that's not how change happens. Change happens on a one-by-one basis. As one person decides to change, a culture will change. As another person decides to change, a culture will change. Until the majority of people accept that change, it will not be a change. We do it one by one. So I'm conscious that I've dragged you all here about the curse of knowledge. I haven't mentioned it yet, have I? I'm getting there. I'm nearly there. So I'm setting the scene. You need to know and enable your people on their own journey about how to change. Now, I could do change management till the cows come home. That cow that, you know, I'm not allowed to mention the B word. Until those cows come home, I could talk about change management, but I don't want to talk about change management tonight. I want to leave you away with one little story. So the first thing you do is you tell your staff, tell them. And if Emma Shaw Clare is on this, I don't know if she's on this or not, but she says she hears me in her dream going, tell them, and tell them again. So you need to tell people what the crack is, make people aware of what's going on. Everybody needs to understand. The next thing you need to do is give them a reason to care. Do you know, remember I told you I am absolutely knackered? I'm a bit stressed. It's January. I'm thinking about divorcing my cat. Everything is hard work in January, and you're asking me to pay attention to something. You need to give me a reason to pay attention. So give me a reason to care. It's called WIVM. What's in it for me? Give me that reason. Now, at this point, I haven't shown you, I haven't given you a new app, because now I need to educate you. I now need to give you skills. And I now need to check in to make sure things are being adopted. I can talk about this one slide forever. But if can anybody want to be brave enough to come off mute and tell me what another word for what I've put on that screen? If you don't want to eat, that's fine. I'll not force you. But I do think there's people on this call that know there's another word or terminology that is used, and it's called ADKAR. And ADKAR stands for Awareness, Desire, Knowledge, Ability, and Reinforcement. And that is the change journey people go on. And I, again, could talk to doomsday, but I'm not here. I just want to reinforce this bit, and then we're going to get to the good old curse. So the awareness is, why is the change needed? What is the risk of not changing? And what is the nature of the change? Desire, what's in it for me? A personal choice, a decision to engage and participate. Knowledge, understand how to change. How do I use the new app and learn new skills? Ability, this is the one that everybody forgets about. Ability is demonstrate capability to implement the change. So if you need to be able to do the app in 2 minutes and 30 seconds to get benefit, and I can do it in 7 hours, you want to give me back some training time. If Keith can do it in 30 seconds, brilliant. But Janet takes 7 hours. You need to know that Janet's shit and you need to help her, right? But people don't measure ability. People just go, here you go, have some training, bye. But if ability is not there, it's as much use as the cows. Oh. And the final one is reinforcement. Reinforcement is the reason my diets don't work. Reinforcement is the reason that I don't go to the gym and often don't wash my hair for a week, because nobody's telling me to. Nobody's making me go to the gym, and I don't live with anybody and they don't say you smell. Reinforcement is when you check that that app is being used. Okay? So I'm going to move on to the curse of knowledge. Oh, no, I'm not. I lied. I've got one more slide before there. So awareness, desire, knowledge, ability, reinforcement. Here's the thing, folks. Everybody starts in the middle. We don't do awareness and desire. We don't do it. Praise the Lord, she's got to the start of her whole presentation. The curse of knowledge. What is the curse of knowledge? Blah, blah, blah. Have you ever sat in a presentation and thought they have talked Swahili the whole time to me because I don't understand it? And then the person giving the presentation is like, I don't have a clue. I mean, this is so easy. Are they thick? And a lot of the time they might be thick, but it's also our fault as presenters. Now, I don't want you to think about just presenting here. I now want you to think about life. I want to think about how you talk to your customers. The curse of knowledge is the fact that you don't know you've got it. So I'm going to talk about a lovely lady called Elizabeth Newton. And she did an experiment in Stanford University. And she took 2 groups of people. In the first group of people, she gave them a list of well-known songs. Okay, Keith, I need your help here. Can you hear me clapping?
I don't think so, sorry.
Right, I'm going to have to do beeps. Can you hear? Right, I'll just find another. Right, so she gave half the room well-known songs. Like, I'm not going to tell you that yet. And the other half, nothing. So she said to the half with the well-known songs, I want you to tap out. Beep, beep. I'm going to do beeps. I want to tap out on your hand or on the table the tune from these well-known songs. And then she asked them, how many do you think your partner will get right? And they said, oh, about 50%. How many do you think did the partners of the people that were doing the beeps, I'm going to do the beeps in a second, get right? What percentage did they get right? 2.5%, 15%. Well done, completely wrong. 20, completely wrong. It was 2.5. 2.5. Why? So I'm going to do some beeps and you're going to tell me. So I'm going to beep out something to you. I'm going to go, I have to think. Ready? Beep, 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 beep. What song's that? I'll do another one. Beep, beep. Oh no, that's wrong, silly. Let me try again. Beep, 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 beep. No?
I don't know any songs about cows.
I
Sorry.
know, or cow's bollocks. So the point is, why? So I could do, one of them was raindrops keep falling on my head, and another one was zippity doo dah, right? But I'm not surprised you didn't get it. One, because my beeps weren't great. But the question is, why did the people think 50% and the answer was only 2.5? Because the people that are doing the tapping or the beeping aren't just beeping, they're singing the song in their head. And it's so easy when you're singing the song in your head to know that I'm singing raindrops keep falling on my head, because I can hear the words. Now, when you're talking about technology and you know that technology, you forget that the person you're speaking to does not know that tune, does not know that technology, is not ingrained in Power Platform to the extent that you are. So we go straight away to showing the product and we don't do awareness and desire. We don't do it because the curse of knowledge is the fact that you have more knowledge than the person you're speaking to. And therefore you jump steps because it's really obvious and I don't need to tell you. So the curse of knowledge is the assumption that everybody knows what you know. The curse of knowledge, also called the curse of expertise or expert's curse. It's the cognitive bias that occurs when a person has specialized knowledge and assumes that others share that knowledge. So if somebody gives you the directions down the street and they forgot to tell you that there's giant roadworks or they forgot to tell you X, Y, and Z, it's because they just assume you already know and you wonder why you get lost. So for me, the curse of knowledge is the reason Power Platform has not been adopted, because people go straight to teaching about the product. So when you know a lot, which you guys do, it's easy to think everybody knows too. I did an experiment once in my last company and I was running around the office and I was talking about what is AI? What is AI? Because our management team were like, if they said AI at one more time, I thought I was going to implode. But everybody assumed that everybody in the room had the same thoughts of what AI was. So I did an experiment and went round the office and asked different people about what AI meant. Somebody said it was a TikTok filter. Somebody said it was about large language models. Somebody said it was about Microsoft Copilot. So imagine if all of us were in that room, we'd be all starting at the different places. So you have to make sure that the curse of knowledge is not impacting how people are adopting. So what do? You make it fully about the people and focus primarily on awareness and desire. You need to remember that you need to take them on a journey, show them their strengths, not its strength, their strengths, their reason to get involved. You need to guide them through the change. You need to make them the driver. You have to teach people not just tech, drive adoption, prove value, and give them ownership. So I'm going to give you an experiment that I did at A&S, my last job. This was a complete experiment. I told a customer we were going to hack, and I didn't want anybody who was technical in the room. And they said, that's not going to work, Janet. So I fought and I fought and I fought and I tried really, really, really hard to get people in the room. And I mean, I was offering my firstborn child, I was offering my cat Toby or my kidney. I was basically, stalking people. I made these people come to this hack. People thought it was going to be illegal and they were in trouble. And it wasn't like that at all. And I made it fun. So people think hacking is where, people are doing nasty, nasty, bastard things. And that's not true. A hack is when somebody comes with their own ideas, their ideas. We're not giving them an idea. They're telling us the ideas. No tech skills were required. They will solve their own real problems. Everybody brings their own value and just have to be yourself. They will learn about Power Platform and AI on their terms. I made it funny. I promised them they would leave more confident, informed. They will get to present their own solution back as a competition within 2 days. They will design and build and plan their own solution because I'm going to bring the tech bods with me and I'm going to give them prizes. I made this an experiment and I made it fun. And so one of the things I did was I focused on awareness. I created welcome emails. I shared photos. I showed outputs. I did a pre-call with every team, with each team and team lead. It broke the ice. We took away any fear. I then said how we're going to show up. We all turned up in a pair of jeans and we came in with energy. I literally had to go to bed for a week afterwards. I used every energy pot. I made people feel special. We coached our team leads. We didn't allow people to speak in jargon. We did training and adoption skills and how they were going to take their plan and they were going to take it into the business. And we gave them ownership. They presented back. It was their work. They took it forward. And then we focused on innovation, impact, accessibility, scalability, user adoption, and business value. So I'm going to whiz through this. These are people that weren't technical, that had never heard of Power Platform. And these were, they presented back with their problem statement, their objectives, their benefits, their risks, they're aligned with their strategy. I've been given permission to use this. They showed their use cases. They showed what technology they were going to use. They showed me how they built it, their features. They gave me their personas, just like Ed did. And they give me a demo, which we haven't got time for. Blah, blah, blah. I'm going to whiz through this. Now, and they showed me how they were going to take it back to the business. I'm going to whiz through. Don't worry, I'm not going to make you watch all the next lot. Like there was one that called, they made a prison officer. I was an offender manager. They were hilarious. But they gave me ROI. I'm going to get to my point in a second. Just get through this. And these people did it themselves in 2 days. I love this next bit. What do you see this bit coming up? We're going to get there. We're going to get there. How many are in here? 4,000 slides. They actually targeted who they wanted to go speak to in the business. They created wanted posters. They went and found the people they wanted to speak to. So do you remember I said I had to offer my kidney to these people? That customer came back and said, it's gone crazy. The office has gone crazy. People are phoning me asking how did they get a team to go to the next hack? Because we created so much awareness and so much desire that when the people went back to the organization, they ran around telling everybody what they did our job for us. There was wait lists for the next slot because we focused on awareness and desire. We made them believe because Power Platform is good enough to allow people to do this themselves. And because we focused on that, they got a massive enterprise agreement, blah, blah, blah. I won't tell you how wonderful we were, but we were wonderful. This was some of the feedback we got back. They then came back and asked us to build them, these apps, and take it out because we'd done about 6 weeks worth of work in 2 days. There's just some pictures. There's Keith. Look, Keith, do you remember that one? That's when Keith and I worked together.
Oh, I remember that. The last place. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to end with this. Don't worry, I am finishing. But this is another one of Janet's stories. Right. Who is this chap? Who is this man? Come on. And I'm going to tell you something. You all know him. Who is he? You're terrible, I'm going to tell you. You should be ashamed of yourselves. This is Professor Sir Ludwig Goodman. It's not Bill Gates. Now, do you now know who Ludwig Goodwin is now? Do you know who he is? Do you? You're pathetic. Honestly, I'm disgusted. I'm disgusted with every one of you. Let me tell you the story of Sir Ludwig Goodman. Sir Ludwig Goodwin is my hero. He was a refugee and he came over in the Second World War. And he is a neurosurgeon. And he was asked to take over a ward of people that were paralyzed from the waist down. Nobody wanted this job. You just waited for them to die. That's basically what happened to people that were paralyzed. And he said he would take it over if he could do something different. And it was agreed that he could do something different. So he insisted that the nurses turn these patients every half hour. The nurses hated him. He insisted that they be sat up in their bed. They got vertigo. Patients hated him. The porters hated him. He stopped the surgeons allowing to cut their spinal cords and using it as experiments. The surgeons hated him. Everybody hated Ludwig Goodman. They wanted him out. They tried to get him out. But what started to happen was people stopped having bed sores. People's vertigo stopped. People started to talk to one another in the bed because he stopped the medication to make them sleep. He brought in a fitness instructor and they hated him because he made him build up strength. He hated the fact that he insisted that they go outside. He hated the fact that he made the patients go home for the weekend. But they came back singing because they got a wee bit of nookie and realised that life was still going to be okay. He brought in clockmakers and taught them how to fix clocks. He gave them back value. He took them outside and he noticed people started to play with their walking sticks with a ball. And then he got other people to come and play on wheelchairs and played some hockey. And then they did some archery. Sir Ludwig Goodman is the father of the Paralympic Games. This man, because he decided to change, to make the effort to do something different. The life expectancy now of somebody with a spinal injury is the same as you and me. But he had to fight. He had to fight. And I know Sir Ludwig Goodman is not our Power Platform person, but at the end of the day, we know what works, but we don't do it. This is just a quote from Tanny Gray Thompson, who's our Paralympian. What would you say? Anything, if you could say anything to Sir Ludwig Goodman, it would be, before he did his rehab work at Stoke Mandeville, do we remember that hospital? That was the hospital he was at. If you broke your back or your neck, you were just left to die in hospital. He did something different. We all know that adoption is key to the success. We now know about the curse of knowledge. We always start in the wrong place. Be brave. Be brave. And put the focus back on the people. Be more Ludwig. Don't be scared to try something different. That's me.
Thank you, Janet. That was absolutely amazing. As always, you're always such a fantastic presenter. Love the voices. Love the many references to cow's bollocks. That's a new one for some of us, I think. Did you used to be a farmer as well? I know you've had a few jobs. Is that
No,
where
I
that came
just
from?
genuinely did work in a semen cow thing. It was IT related. Cow
Cool.
semen is very expensive. Just so you know.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Every day's
The
a school
cows
day.
Yes, actually.
bollocks.
They
The
sell a
cows
lot of it
bollocks.
around here. Yeah.
Well, okay.
Okay.
Fantastic. There is a request in the chat from Duncan, and I'm sure many others are not brave enough to speak up, but can we get one more final cow's bollocks, please, Janet?
Well, it is just the cow's bollocks. It's not the dog's bollocks anymore. It's the cow's bollocks.
There you go. So if anyone wants a new ringtone or like notification sound, just snip that from the video. We'll upload it to YouTube. Yeah.
Oh, that's going to be my new WhatsApp tone. That's why I wanted it.
Yeah, you can have it, my darling. You can have it.
Thank
But
you.
But the curse of knowledge is genuinely why, like, we're not always starting in the same place. And it's an amazing podcast that I listen to. And basically the curse of knowledge is why, do you know the tune? The thing of the Light Brigade?
Yeah.
You know, the storing of the Light Brigade where all the people died? That was
Mhm.
all because of the curse of knowledge. Everybody assumed something different was being said to them. And, 600 people dying on the charge of the Light Brigade is not quite Power Platform, but It's all about making sure we're on the same starting point.
I think sometimes here's something that stays with you, and I do think that this is one of them for any of us doing any job, and it doesn't have to relate to Power Platform, like you say, it can relate to anything. I think that just coming back to that, for me, I know that'll stay with me. Are we all talking the same language? Probably not. Take a step back. So that's definitely what I'll be taking away at a minimum. Does anyone have any questions? Any questions about Cal's bollocks? Or Toby?
I've had some great jobs. I've had some fantastic jobs.
Yeah, we're missing Toby, Janet, and we're very, very disturbed about the fact that you're going to divorce him.
Well, I'm very disturbed that I'm married to him. He's a cat. I don't know where the cat is. He knocked over the computer earlier. He's probably been picked up the bollocks and pissed off.
He's heard it all before, I'm sure.
Yeah, he's sick of it.
Well, thank you so much, Janet. I really wanted to hear that session at South Coast, so thanks so much for bringing it here to us at High Fives. I don't want to forget, we've got a couple of things to do, Keith and I. One is the photo. We need a high five photo with your gorgeous faces on it. If anyone who wants to be on can put the camera on. And also, our friends at Colour Cloud have asked us to extend a discount code to everybody on this call as well. So they're my two jobs, is to say those things.
Good stuff. Yep, that's a good point, actually. Just while you wrap up, Sarah, I'm going to see if I can find that code and we can share it in the chat as well.
I just saved the photo from
great.
the chat, and now I don't know how to put it into the chat.
No worries, no worries. Here we go. I've got it as well. One of us in just a moment. There we go. Is going to put it in the chat. The short version is the code is high five, all uppercase, one word, and it's just gone in the chat there as well. It gives a 10% discount for Colour Cloud. Great stuff.
Thanks.
Just
No
realised
worries.
Diane's on this call. Hello, Diane.
Hi, Janet. It's nice
Hello,
to see
lovely.
you. Hello. I just say, yeah, that was amazing. So well timed, because we were just about to launch our business maker program, and this. I'm going to go back and resync some things already, because I think what you said about a weird, yeah, it's absolutely. and I'm doing a session this week where it's like I've assumed that people in the IT department will actually know what Power Platform is, and I'm like, maybe not. Maybe I need to step back. So yeah, brilliant. That's actually like really helped me out. So thank you.
Well, it's nice to see you.
Diane, we're hoping you're going to be back in May with a session. You can tell us how it went.
Yeah, definitely. I'll try and be positive today. So hopefully I will be back with the story of our successful adoption.
Yes.
Love
After
it.
5 years of trying to open up our kind of business maker program. But yeah, I think, Janet, do you know what's been amazing so far? Sorry, I know we need to finish, but it's the people and the stories. We've got our small group of early adopters and just talking their ideas, their passion for what they want to do. And I think you've just given me the confidence there, Jack, to lean into that and say it's not about. I've spent 6 months doing policy and governance and strategy and training packets, all the things that were on the first slides I came in. Yeah, just lean into those stories. I think I'm just going to go and just talk to people more and just get their enthusiasm.
Oh, everybody loves a story. Honestly, I have effed up my entire life or people think I'm really good and all I do is tell stories.
Mm-hmm.
Because people remember you because of a story and how you made them feel, and you made them feel heard and listened to. That is one of the when you do a thing in change management. I'll do this really quickly, and you talk about when people don't want to do things. The very first thing that you do is listen, and it stops people being resentful. It just letting people feel heard is one of the very first things that you do. Yeah,
That's just brilliant advice, and yeah, I'm just really gonna go and reflect on that. It's just very, very well timed for me today. So thank you, Janet. Thank you all.
No worries. No worries.
Great feedback. Yeah, thanks, Diane. And yeah, likewise, looking forward to the successful adoption as well as your session as well. Of course, it's a given. It's going to be great. Great. So yeah, last call. Anyone who wants to join us on camera, we're just going to take a quick high five photo in a few seconds. So I will get things ready.
And I washed my hair, everybody.
Thank you for
great.
washing your hair, Janet. It looks fantastic.
It does.
Honestly,
yeah.
I
Really
stink. I'm
Incredible.
unemployed, live alone with my cat. Things are not going well in my life.
We
you
take the
look great.
photo. We're all laughing. Take it now.
Okay, let's do it then. Let's jump on it. So when you're ready, just hold that pose and I'll go ahead in 3, 2, 1. And have the slowest laptop in the world. There we go. There we go. Got it. Awesome. So thanks everyone. Thanks for the wonderful speakers tonight. So great sessions by Sharon, Ed, and Janet. They're all the cow's bollocks. Brilliant sessions. Really appreciate them all. So thanks everyone. Great job. And thanks all for spending your time with us as well. It's always possible because you all join us. We're all sharing the knowledge and being part of this positive group. So yeah, we really love it that you could all spend your time with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Can I just again just Ed, well done. I know you've done sessions internally, but that was really impressive. Franco was saying the same. It was really engaging. Your tone, your pace, the slides, everything was great. So thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I want Ed to be a voice actor next. I think that's your side hustle from now on, Ed.
Hey, there's quite good money in voiceover work, isn't there?
I wouldn't get, because I can't say P's or B's. How many P's is there in that presentation?
You just need to do a text to speech and get it read out there, Janet. But no, you did a grand job. You did a great job. But
thank you so much. Thanks for the opportunity, everyone. And thanks for the opportunity, everyone. Obviously, Keith, Sarah, thanks for your encouragement, and obviously out to my other speakers tonight. It's been absolutely brilliant, and also to everyone in the chat and that's joined us today and in the recording as well. I know several of you sent me LinkedIn requests, which is absolutely epic. So looking forward to that. And if anyone does have any other feedback or anything you want to catch up about, obviously it'd be absolutely brilliant to hear from you. So yeah, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Well done.
Fantastic. Yeah, thanks again, everyone. Great stuff. And yep, join us next time. We're provisionally looking at Tuesday, the 3rd of February for the next one. We do try and aim for the first Tuesday of the month, but we'll
the perfect host.
Yeah, do follow our page on LinkedIn and we'll post about upcoming events there. So yeah, thanks everyone. Have a great rest of your day and we'll see you next time. Take care.
Bye everyone. Thank you.
Great night. Thanks everyone.